Let's plan together! Whether you are currently planning your August in 2025 or you're seeing this in the far, far future, if you are seeing this in the far, far future, say hello in the comments and what year you are in. Although I don't think these videos have that type of longevity, but maybe they do. Who knows? This is going to be very much a pretend you're co-working with me or on a video call with me and we're just besties hanging out, but in a very chill way where we're still trying to get our work done, etc. So don't expect this to be a explanation of my entire thought process and in my entire planning setup, because that is just not what this video is. If you do want more in depth, I do have a video about that on my channel. So if you scroll a couple videos down, it will be there. Yeah, so how is everyone doing? I will say I have already recorded about 10 minutes of voiceover and then I completely lost it. But that's honestly all right because it turns out the input was the wrong microphone anyways, which is why I stopped recording, and then it just disappeared, which I was not a fan of. That was not very kind of you, DaVinci Resolve. Hey, but it is very cool that they added a voiceover function, but now I'm very skeptical and scared that I'm gonna lose 10 minutes of voiceover. Because this is my second time recording this voiceover, I have completely forgotten to introduce myself. I am so sorry, but hi, my name is Parky. I am now your new, I was gonna say stationary bestie, but honestly, I am just here documenting all of my life, and part of that, a very large part of that, is actually journaling, stationery, and planning. I am a productivity app fiend. I don't know if that's the correct phrase, but hear me out. I love using productivity apps and I love trying them out. And recently, I actually got back into trying Notion because I needed a way to organize my content in one place and write down all of my ideas. And I was like, you know what? Let's give Notion a go again. And honestly, I have been a pretty big fan of it so far. It's been treating me very well, and a lot of the stress that Notion gives me is the fact that I have to create, and I don't. So here's the thing, that I always wanted to create and customize my own templates, but it's been a long time since I've used Notion. I used Notion about a year after it came out, and I was overwhelmed with how clunky everything was. Nothing worked sort of intuitively. It was missing a lot of natural shortcuts, things like tables. If you click on a table cell and you hit enter, that didn't used to work for you to be able to type in, which is a very normal part of Excel and Google Sheets. And so that was really frustrating to me because a lot of things didn't work intuitively. And then they had all of these clunky boxes. And I was like, this is no better than me linking notes to each other. So I gave it another try recently. And this time I was like, I am not setting up my own template. People have literally made careers off of Notion templates. So I'm going to go through the Notion template database and Frankenstein things that worked together for me. I did manage to find stuff that worked for me. I'll try to find their links again and put them in the description. I'm not going to be highlighting it in this video, but if you are curious, I can definitely pull that up and maybe comment it somewhere. But I basically just have one page, which is what works for me because I am just tracking the content that I'm making and where and what stage it is in. Oh, yeah. Hi. The second part of my introduction is that I'm currently doing content creation full time, which is a really big privilege because I hesitate to say full time because I don't earn full time money off of it. I am just doing this full-time hours. Even more than that, I'm probably working at least 60 hours on content, not to even mention the fact that I'm constantly thinking about it and developing ideas and things in my brain, so much so that it is actually starting to prevent me from sleeping because I'm just constantly so excited to be working on content. So when I say full-time content creator, I mean that I'm working full-time hours. I'm not earning full-time income. I currently am unemployed, but I'm having fun, and this is obviously a huge privilege, and I'm aware of that. But hey, I'm gonna have fun. So yes, I have a Notion tracker for all of my content because I am actually making a lot of content currently, and the main purpose of why I filmed this August spread is actually because I am doing a stream rebrand right now, and August is my 30 days before my stream comeback on September 2nd. Hopefully you'll see this video in the early stages of August so that I still have a bit of time. But quite honestly, I've given myself 2 months. We are now in the 20-ish days left before stream comeback on September 2nd, and I am busy the few days before, so I have about 20 days, honestly, which is stressful, very stressful. And honestly, when I made this spread, I was extremely stressed and quite anxious, and I was like, fuck it, I am going to make this spread because I know that doing work and accomplishing things always makes me feel better, despite sometimes always needing rest. And of course, I've sort of learned to intuit when I need those two things, either or, like when I can push myself to do the work that I need to get done in order to help myself feel better, or if I genuinely need rest and to just put everything down, like step away from work and just maybe listen to a podcast and walk around, or just etc., etc. If you also couldn't tell, this voiceover has absolutely no direction, so I will be hopping around everywhere. So really just think of this as a conversation where I am just solo yapping at you while we're doing work together. But on that note, I do have a question, sort of related to the style of this video as well as you as a person, so I'm really delving deep into your psyche here. I'm not. It's an innocuous question, please humor me. I was curious, what type of co-working person are you? I was going to say coworker, but then realized in my head that coworker means something entirely different. So, if you are someone that likes co-working, and feel free to leave in the comments why you don't like co-working if you don't do co-working. If you are someone that enjoys co-working, what type of environment do you like co-working in? Is this environment where I'm sort of yapping at you, just filling the air, the type of environment that you like, where people are chatting, talking about their work, etc.? Or do you like sounds where it's sort of more environment and just papers rustling, maybe someone going or someone giggling about something that they're working on, or maybe they're actually watching a video during their break time? Or maybe you like complete silence, everyone is muted, maybe if you're on Discord everyone is deafened because you guys are really locked in, focused, can't take any other sounds. Type of co-working person, and all of those options are absolutely fine. There's no judgment here. I was just curious because I was thinking a lot about those types of co-working people when I decided to film this video and record this voiceover, because a part of me was like, maybe I will do like a 5-ish minute intro where I'm talking about what I'm doing, etc., and then leave the rest of it to music, or maybe I will just do text only and just find 38 minutes of music. I actually don't know how long this video is going to be, so maybe it's not 38 minutes, and I'm so sorry if I deprived you of that footage and you really wanted it. But I just, at the forefront of it all, I wanted this to be a space that you could set aside and get some work done for yourself. And if it includes me yapping, then I am honored to be here with you while you're getting your productive work done. If it is me muted on the side, I am also honored that I'm here and present and that you chose to leave my video on while you work. So yes, I would absolutely love your answers. Oh, my voice. Excuse me. I am recording this unwisely right after I have woken up, and so it's been about 20 minutes of me talking, pretty much 10 minutes after I've woken up. So my mouth is very dry because I am also a mouth breather when I sleep, and it's not very good, but that just means I wake up dehydrated, and guess what talking does? It dehydrates you. So hi. If you are realizing that my voice sounds a little bit different than it normally does in my other videos, that is why. It's also because I'm trying to keep the energy very light and loose and calm so that I can somehow fill up all of this space by talking, which I don't have to. I can definitely leave breaks, but if I were to talk for the entirety of the video, then this will have to be a much slower paced video than some of my other videos where I feel like I am rapping, which is a lot of fun in its own way. But this is definitely a low energy, just let's get some work done. Maybe it's morning for you, maybe you're wrapping up your day, maybe you're even planning your week, or if you're like me, you're planning your month. And let's talk a little bit about what I'm actually doing. So this is not my normal month or week spread. I actually have a hobonichi that is what I normally journal in, but I was recently kind of manically rearranging my room, and part of that was digging through boxes to see if there was stuff that I could throw out, because I still have boxes of stuff. I think everyone has boxes of stuff, and one of my boxes of stuff is journals and notebooks. Some of them are old journals that I've completed and have moved on from, or some of them are just half finished notebooks like this one that I found, this monster study planner, or they're just like old class notebooks where I just maybe stopped taking notes in the middle of the course, or maybe it was one of those lectures where listening and not taking notes was just a lot more helpful. Yeah, I just have half finished notebooks, and this happened to be one of them, and I was like, oh, this was really cute, and I do really like the way it has so much dedicated space for each week, but also each day, which is nice. Can you tell that I've been thinking a lot about what planner system I want for 2026? Because if you know anything about planners and journals, August is planner season. So this is a time when people are researching and planning to pre-order their planners. So I have been looking at a lot of journaling systems because I don't think I want to get a hobonichi next year. Shocking. This is my first year having a hobonichi, and I was originally scared to get a hobonichi because daily pages has never been my thing. I did surprisingly enjoy the daily pages, but I'm not sure if I like it enough to spend that much money on a hobonichi. So I'm thinking I will switch to something that is a little bit more like this planner, where it's more of a focus on weeklies while still having enough space for dailies and notes. I really like the fact that there's enough space for me to add extra notes that are not related to my task, or even if they are related to my tasks, as well as 2 spots for me to task dump what I need to do that week, or what I want to do that week. So as you can see, there's this home page where I can task dump not only my tasks, but I can also put my events, which actually makes it really useful. And then there's a note reflection section at the end of the week where I can write, or I think I'll be using that for my tasks. At the point of this recording, I have not gotten through a full week of using this, but so far it's been going great. I've been getting a lot of tasks done. It is currently Friday, so almost through the week, but not quite there. So the reason I decided to use this planner instead of my normal journal is mainly because although I find a lot of joy in creating my weekly spreads and my daily spreads, I have just been too stressed for a number of reasons to make those spreads. It just felt like an added task, and if I couldn't make the time, whether mentally or just physically, to do that, then my whole week would kind of disappear into the depths of nothingness, where I would just not use my journal for that week. And that was not good, especially when I have such a large deadline with a lot of things that I needed to get done. So this is why I like having planners on hand that already have a layout, because there are definitely moments in my life when I just don't have the wherewithal to make my own spreads. So this came in really handy because I was getting extremely stressed about all of the content that I had to make in preparation for my stream comeback on September 2nd, because we were about 30 days out at this point. I had really thought that when I set out to do my rebrand and went on my stream hiatus, that 2 months would be enough time to do everything I needed for the stream comeback. But I'm realizing that I didn't actually think it through very much. 2 months might have been enough time if all I was doing was a stream rebrand, but I had a lot of content that I wanted to work on outside of the stream rebrand. So this is pretty much the last week where I'm giving myself all of this time to catch up. There is definitely still some content that I'm still going to be working on in the following weeks, but my focus is on getting the stream rebrand actually up and running in time after this week. So I've been working on a lot of content, which has been very exciting for me. I've been keeping up with my Let's Plays. I'm currently playing Mori on a different channel, Parky Park 123. It's basically the title of this channel minus the real, so it's not real Parky Park 123, it's just Parky Park 123. I've also been preparing and curating a lot of clips because I want to restart my TikTok accounts. I actually completely deleted them and I'm starting over from scratch just because I really wanted a clean slate somewhere, and I didn't want to restart all of my socials. So I didn't want to restart YouTube because I enjoy the content that I make on here, and that seemed really silly because YouTube is known for being a longevity platform. And then Instagram also really didn't make sense to restart because Instagram was kind of just like my clip dumping social media platform. I didn't really have a curated feed or anything. I just post clips on there, and I post every type of clip on there, so it didn't make sense for me to restart that either. So I started over my gaming TikTok as well as my lifestyle TikTok. Neither of those are currently live again because I didn't realize when I deleted those TikToks that it would take 30 days for the accounts to actually disappear. And I believe that technically yesterday was the last day, but when I try to open TikTok and I get in, it keeps on giving me this welcome back screen and my account. And so I am a little worried that if I try to sign up with my whatever I used for those accounts again, it'll just log me back in, and that's really what I don't want. So I am going to wait a couple more days, but I want to start by the 10th. So I have no idea what's happening. And I wonder if there's anyone at TikTok I can contact about this. If you're interested in keeping up with what I've been doing for content and on my personal life every week, I do have that on my Ko-Fi for free. So you can just click on the link, scroll through my posts, find them, and then if you're interested, figure out what I've been working on. I will say, in completed projects wise, I don't have that many. I think I have recorded, edited, published, maybe not published, scheduled around 3 vlogs during this time. And at this point, 6 Let's Plays. I also have a lot of clips that I've completed that are not published either because, again, I'm waiting for my TikTok accounts to be remade. And then I think I'm always shocked by how long it takes to make content despite constantly working on it every day. I don't understand how people do this on the side. I can't imagine doing all of this with a full-time job. It's not that I can't imagine, I physically just can't. There's so much behind the scenes work to content that people just never see, that even when I'm looking at my own weekly completes, I'm like, oh wow, look at all the steps that I had to take in order to complete this one video. I had to ideate, I had to record, and who knows how long those parts take. And then I have to edit, and then maybe I have to do a voiceover, maybe I have to create graphics, maybe I have to add text and do some wild edits. And then I have to schedule, write captions, and make sure that I have a thumbnail or maybe even a title card. There's a lot that goes into these and a lot of thinking that needs to go into the preparation of all of this. And I'm sure that not everyone does this. Maybe I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, a little bit of a completionist, but to me, I enjoy the process. I enjoy doing all of that, and I'm still learning along the way what works best, what I don't need to do. Oh, my voice. Okay, I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Sorry, y'all. You can continue working with me. I'm going to take a little bit of break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what I had planned for this week, what I have planned in general for streaming and content, and hopefully what I want it to become. Do 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 do. Okay, but back to our regularly scheduled programming, which is what is currently on screen. Me planning out my month. We went through all the numbers, which in and of itself was very stressful because there are a lot of numbers that you have to write down in this spread. There's the weekly homepage, which we are currently working on, where you have to write X date through X date and then the date for each day of the week. And then you have to go through each daily page, daily section, and then write the date and then also the D-Day number, which was getting me very confused. And so I went through and wrote all the dates first. And then I went back and wrote all of D-Days. And there's also the monthly spread, so you have to fill in all of the days there. I think that itself took me about 10 minutes to do, just writing down the numbers of dates. And then you will realize in a little bit, once I start filling out more of my weekly spreads with reoccurring events, that I forgot to write a lot of the dates. Or maybe you've already noticed it and you're yelling at me, Parky, you didn't fill out the dates on the home pages of the weeks in the future. And I do go back into them. Don't be scared. I did get them. As you can see, I do write my content deadlines down as well as some larger events. And I can't write down all of my events because some of them are going to probably dox me. Some things I did have to write more vaguely or I just didn't fill out in video, but I will fill them out afterwards. I promise I did that. And as I was filling this out, as I said, I was super stressed. I was really anxious, not only because I hadn't gotten around to actually making any of the stream content yet. I was still working on a backlog of content, but I didn't really know entirely what my rebrand was. I knew what I wanted to stream, but in terms of design, I'm still actually thinking about it because originally I wanted to do something black and white or cream and white just so that it's easier on the eyes, but it is still very light and I was like, oh man, is this gonna turn people away from my design just because it's so bright? At the end of the day, my stream is for me. Like, I should be happy with my stream first and foremost, and then that way I will be happy streaming, and then people will enjoy the fact that I'm happy while I stream. And it's sort of inevitable that I'm going to dislike this design at some point in the future. So I am happy with being happy with it for now. And I have some ideas. They're not fully fleshed out yet, and I think they may... Yeah, I haven't worked on any of the layouts yet, but I'm basically going to be coming back with a very bare bones stream because I want to figure out some things together. There's some things that I need help with just because I have no idea how to do them. I haven't done my research yet, so that'll be fun. In terms of rebrand, I definitely want to become more of a co-working streamer, but again, it'll be yappy because to me, streaming is talking and communicating with the community. And not that co-working streamers don't do that. A lot of co-working streamers do that very effectively, but when I co-work in silence, I feel a lot of pressure to be super productive, but then I feel very perceived, and then I feel like I should still be entertaining, and so I don't get co-working done during silent co-working style. And that's when I've been thinking about that a lot because I do want to work together, but I needed to figure out a way to make that work out for me. And so that is what I've decided on. I will be working on stream stuff while co-working because that's fun for me and it allows me to stream more regularly. I will still be streaming games because I still find that so much fun, but the types of games that I will be streaming I think will stick back to the more cozy, mindless games. I started streaming as a Stardew Valley streamer, and that was pretty mindless because I did not have to pay attention to things like combat or things like, I don't know, etc., like story, and I could just pause the game and just spend hours talking to people and not pay attention to the game. But I could also play this game and continue interacting with chat because, again, I wouldn't be encountered with random combat or have to pay attention to enemies. I could always pause for a second, look at chat, and respond. And that's the kind of streaming that I think I really enjoy. I just enjoy talking to people. The game is really there as a side piece. Now, the second reason that I was so stressed and anxious was because last week I had been pretty suddenly laid off from my only regular, wow, I words, regular source of income. I had been working part-time once a week at this point at a office that I had been working full-time or close to full-time hours previously, before I took a break to study at a coding bootcamp, and then they asked if I could come back. So I did because I was still looking for jobs, and I still am. And then they went on a trip for July. And so I hadn't been in contact. I actually wasn't sure when they were coming back, but I did know that my first day back would be August 2nd. Last week, I was getting ready to go back to work, and then on Thursday, I get a message that was, I think they were trying to be very kind about it, but to me, it came off as very vague. They had said something along the lines of, hey, I think it might be a good idea for you to not come into work. Actually, they didn't say it like that. They said, I think it might be a good idea if I, meaning the person that was sending me this message, continued to do my admin work and take over your role on Saturdays. Let me know if that's good with you. And the way they phrased it, it was a much longer message as well, was definitely very inconclusive. And so I messaged back and I was like, hey, thanks for letting me know. Let me know what you decide. I am good with whatever you end up deciding, because I mean, how much say do I really have in saying, no, please give me my job, like let me stay there, when they've already pretty much, it sounds like, determined that it would be easier for them to continue doing the work, which I think makes a lot of sense, because as much as I was doing admin work on my Saturdays, because I'm not there all the time, it does kind of break the workflow, requires more communication, and I wasn't trained in doing all parts of the admin work, and so I did a lot of the front of house stuff and the immediate scheduling things, but I wasn't doing a lot of the behind the scenes admin work, and so I get it. It makes a lot of sense. And so I didn't get a response, and then it was Friday, still waiting. I decided to shoot them another message, and I was like, hey, am I coming out tomorrow? Because I was scheduled to go into work on Saturday, and I was like, it's less than 24 hours. I don't know if I'm going in. So I messaged them, and then they responded, and they were like, no, you don't have to come in. Sorry. And so I was really bummed. And so Thursday, Friday, I spent those 2 days starting a massive deep clean, rearranging my room again, because I liked the way my room layout was, but unfortunately my bed was next to my windows, which was affecting my sleep a lot. When my bed is next to my windows, I don't have a solid wall against the long side of my bed, and I think that's really affecting it. Not only that, my windows are pretty drafty, so there's always a weird breeze around my bed, and so I just was not sleeping comfortably. So instead of fully crashing out, which I pretty much did check out entirely, not only to mention that this was off the end of a pretty bad heat wave where I was, it was a feels like of over 100 degrees. Very rough week. I did not get much done, and so I was already stressed and anxious off of that because it was so hot that my brain was already fried, and then I lost my only source of income, my only source of regular income, and pretty honestly, my only source of income. While I do, and I'm very grateful to my supporters on Ko-Fi and people who are still subbing to me on Twitch, even though I'm not streaming. Very, very, very grateful to them. Those are not regular sources of income, you know, like I am not guaranteed those paychecks every month, every week. And so, yeah, that was extremely stressful. And honestly, I'm a little, what do you call it? I'm not pissed, but I'm a little slighted by the fact that I thought we had a good working relationship, and then this conversation came out less than 2 days before, less than 48 hours before I was intending to go back to work. And so I was just kind of like, that really sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. So I've been going through it. And so I decided to make this journal spread when I was extremely stressed because I was like, I need a way to get my life together and really just focus on what I need to get done because it's not going to happen without it. It's not going to happen without an organized system. And it has actually been working out really, really well this week. I've gotten a lot of work done. Obviously, there are some good days, there are some bad days, and we go with the flow. We work with what we can based on the way my body's feeling, the way I rest. Sometimes I just don't get a good night's sleep. That is what catching up on my life has been. But otherwise, I'm honestly very, very proud of the content that I've been able to make in the past 6 weeks. 5 weeks? 5 weeks, actually, I think. I don't know. How long was July? July, I think, was a very long month. Was July 5 weeks? It was 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I count? Yes. No. Huh? I don't know anymore. I think it was like 4.5 weeks. In terms of Monday start, anyways, besides that, that is not the point. Within, I guess, 6 weeks, I am very proud of all that I have managed to accomplish, and I am excited for returning back to stream. I'm excited to get back into streaming, and streaming is really just a one-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't know how to explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it because it is just amazing. I think we're nearing the end of this video, and so this was a very long and chatty chat with me, work with me, yap, like we're on video call. Thank you for hanging out and being here and watching all of these videos as I experiment through what type of content I like to create. I thought I wanted to do more day in the life content, but quite honestly, I just don't have the patience for it. I have tried multiple times this week to record a day in the life, and I just don't have the patience to set up angles, and there's no direction with those videos. I might try again sometime this month because I do think it would be interesting for myself. Mainly, again, a lot of this documentation is for myself to just see and look back and be like, oh my gosh, I was really sitting at my computer for 10 hours. Who let me do that? And why wasn't I doing Pomodoros? Why wasn't I doing stretches? And yeah, so... Oh, one last thing that I did want to mention is that this planner is not the only journal tracking system that I'm using. I'm also using my Notion board, which I think I mentioned, and then I also use a Google Calendar, and that is it for this video. I can't believe I talked for this long. I was really worried at the beginning, and I was like, wow, I don't think I'll be able to get past 10 minutes of talking, but we got to catch up, talk about what I'm journaling about and planning, and it's so funny looking at this planner now because my planner now is a lot more full. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for hanging out. Bye!